All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is our seventh class of the series. So, kind of the container, the closing of the container today will be sweet. And yeah, so I would like to start seated, and I would encourage today's going to be meditative, mindful breath work, stretching, slow. Um, yeah, so make sure that you, as I'm talking, you tend to your space in whatever way you need to so that you feel like this hour is yours. And we will start seated. Yeah, good to have, whether it's a couple of blankets, a yoga bolster if you want to indulge in a or in a meditation cushion. Those are really nice to have. Taking the time when I meditate in the mornings, I throw a blanket around me. You want to make it cocooned and super sweet. And I'm just going to offer, once you close your eyes, that you wrap your arms around yourself and you give yourself a little embrace, a little squeeze to your arms, a little sway side to side, maybe just a big breath in. Let yourself land. Maybe open the mouth and let out a sigh. Do just a couple of those together. Deep breath in. Oh, finding a comfortable space, comfortable position for yourself. If anything needs to change, wherever you want your hands to be. I want to talk about today's theme a bit. So, as you do that, just slow, steady, easy breathing. We are going to do a little pranayama practice relative to this as well. So, we've started at the base and we've worked our way up through the torso, all the way up to the very crown of the head. So last week we did intuition, we did the third eye, and that was focused on authentic self, true self, our intuition, our ability to see and know beyond our five senses. And so as we bring it up to the crown, and I want you to use your own language here. So the crown is connected to, you can call it source, divine, spirit, the all of everything, God, whatever language you give it, make it feel just right for you. But this is our connection up. Or you could just imagine like, light, perhaps, above the crown of the head, be the sunlight, as if it just pours down into the crown of the head, feeling a warmth and letting that light bring in a sense of ease, comfort, safety, tranquility, presence. So my interpretation of the crown, and everyone really, you cultivate your own as you learn more about these different energies in the body. But to me, this is a connection to love and a connection really specifically to self love. I like the word worthiness. So just feeling that in your body, feeling that, taking what feels good, letting go of anything I offer that doesn't, but a connection to embracing, opening, expanding, more self love, more self worth. I deserve dot, dot, dot. Ideally, this connection brings a sense of comfort, connection, very different from connection to another human being. It's like our most intimate inner life can be shared in this way without words. The blessing, the gift of spiritual practice. And so you might inquire, what is mine? What is your spiritual practice? What helps you to connect to something much bigger? Could be just a walk, going on a walk, or being in nature and sitting and letting the sun touch your skin. Now, I know if we were all sitting together and sharing that I would have much to learn from all of you as well. But what I offer is that if you want to consider cultivating more of a practice, it could be 3 minutes a day. And maybe that turns into 5 or 10, where you sit and you lean into whatever is present. You lean in to whatever is present. Now, all I want you to do here is just let your breath expand, like you're bringing that light from above through the crown and all the way down your whole body, your head, your throat, your heart, your belly, all the way down into the hips to the root. You can feel it move and bring a sense of warmth through the arms and through the legs, through the hands and through the feet. In moments of challenge and moments of dysregulation, perhaps, it's a place to lean into. And it's also a place to lean into when we're in a state of gratitude for the gifts. All right, I'm going to stop talking. And I want you to just take some really beautiful breaths, like what wants to come in, what wants to change, what wants to be known as you breathe deeply. One more. That inhale is our capacity to receive. That exhale is our ability, our willingness to let go. I think when we tend to ourselves in this way, I don't know, something shifts in our relationships as well. So the last thing I'll offer before I bring us into some restorative postures would just be when something feels really good. This is a practice that I do. When something feels really good, when something feels like a gift, it can be small, it can be big, to just drop into the feeling of thank you. More of this, please. All right. I know we took some time, but it's almost like as we move from the base of the spine, when we move from the energy in the hips and the belly up into the heart and higher, it actually gets more subtle. It gets more introspective and it gets quieter in a way so that we can hear underneath the noise. All right. So thank you for taking that extra time. Sometimes that's easy, sometimes that's frustrating. So it's okay, whatever showed up for you. Okay. So here's what I want to offer. I'm going to show this two different ways. I'm going to show this two different ways. if you have wall space. If you don't have wall space, it's okay. I'm going to show you if you don't have wall space first. If you don't have wall space, you're just going to recline, soles of the feet together, knees apart. And if you put a block underneath each thigh, you will probably relax a little bit more because you feel open but held. My friends who are up for coming up the wall, and I'll show you how to get up the wall, you come in sideways. I'm kind of wanting you to like, this is good to just learn. So you come in sideways, and if you've not done this before, it's just awkward and it gets less awkward. So my hip is close to the wall. I lie down and I swing up and I pivot. I made it look easy. It's not always easy. And then feet together, knees apart. So you're in the same shape, but it's going to feel different because it's going to be a little more intense here. So you take your pick, feet together, knees apart, up the wall. My hips are pretty close. If I'm way out here, away from the wall, you're going to not feel supported. It would be better to just be on the ground. Okay. So I'm going to offer, yeah, just a couple different postures here. If you're on your back, maybe your hands are on your belly. The whole class won't be restorative, but quite a bit. You could take your arms overhead either way. Breath is a reflection of our internal state. So if our internal state feels a bit swirly, how do you want to shape the breath so that you bring in a sense of slowing down, of more ease, nice and smooth inhale and exhale. If you can let the breath fill the belly, that's even better. Just 3 more breaths here. I'm going to show you, we're going to do eye of the needle, either at the wall or not at the wall. Both are fine. So if you're not at the wall, you're crossing your right ankle over your left thigh, pressing the knee away. Do this one all the time. And maybe picking the foot up and holding onto the shin. If you're at the wall and you're just held, main thing at the wall, if you do this, is if you bend this knee and your hips lift, I would rather you not bend the knee. I want your back flat. We only slide this foot down as much as the back can stay flat. And the benefit of the wall is you feel a little more held, a little more supported. Easy belly breaths here. We'll switch legs at the wall or on your back. Left ankle over right thigh. If you're at the wall, the foot slides down only as much as you can keep your back flat. So those lumbar vertebrae, we want to be mindful. And it's wiser to keep your low spine flat rather than in flexion and hovered above the floor. All right. So if you've been at the wall, I would just let your arms come up. You'll roll to the side and take a moment there. If you're on your back, stay there. We're going to all meet on our back. So if you've been at the wall, make your way there. And tug knees into chest. There's a lot more we can do at the wall, but I wouldn't do it unless I knew everyone had access to that. So maybe thinking about that for the next series, creating some wall space. Let's find a little happy baby. You're going to reach for your feet. I like holding my inner heels. Some people like to catch the outside of the foot. And find the edge here, a little press, knees really wide. Here's your inverted squat, letting your hips rock side to side. We'll take a little twist together. So let's hug right knee in. Release that left leg out onto the floor. And you can open and close this right knee. Let it come out to the side and back to center. Dynamic movement just brings in blood flow, a little more movement for your lymph. Give a good squeeze of that right knee into your chest. Flex your feet. You're going to take a breath in, and on your exhale, engage your belly and lift up, nose towards that knee. Tuck your chin in, feel a little contraction of your belly, little more squeeze of that hip. Release down, interlace your hands behind the thigh and extend your leg up. Maybe we want to move the ankles around a little. And we're going to take a deep breath in. These are all optional. On your exhale, if you want to, slide your hands higher up that leg, engage your belly, lift your head, tuck your chin, look for a deeper stretch. Don't force. Bring it down and we'll take a twist. Guide that right knee over to the left. Open your right arm out to the right. So I prefer my knee comes all the way down and my shoulder hovers. And I can let my chest open, tension in the pecs. And each exhale softening in. Where I place that arm makes a difference. I feel more when it's higher. Check in what works for you. And back to center. We'll do these few on the other side. Left knee hugs in. Open and close if you want to. Take that knee out to the side and back to center. Think of the breath as like clearing the clutter. clearing congestion, bringing movement where there's blockages energetically in our bodies. We're going to give a good squeeze here. Take a breath in. On your exhale, engage your core, curl up, squeeze in. Flex your feet, maybe spread your toes. And bring it back down and stretch the left leg to the sky. And just giving some attention to the back of the leg. It's already feeling tight. You do not need to climb up the leg. This is here if you want it. Deep breath in. Engage your belly again, curling up. My leg isn't straight. You don't force it straight unless that just feels available. Bring it down, bend the knee, and take it across and down. Left arm opens. Where does that left arm need to be so you get that release across the chest? Or some of us have had, have some scar tissue perhaps here, some healing to do in the chest. Send it love. And we'll bring it back to center, planting your feet down flat on the floor. I think I teach this one every time. Press your upper arms into the mat and tuck your shoulder blades in towards your spine. So I'm already arched here, like you could slide a hand underneath my back. So I'm going to keep that scoop. I'm going to keep my knees tracking forward. If you tend to let the knees fall away, I would put a block in between. You're going to rise up. Gentle hold here. Easy breath. You want a little more. Find your hands underneath. Straighten each arm and scoop underneath as much as you can. You want a little more. Bring your feet closer to you. Come onto tiptoes. This actually doesn't feel harder to me. It feels like I have more space for extension. Find your edge today. Press the arms into the mat. Glutes engage to lift a little higher. We'll release the arms. We'll lower down. Knees together. Give yourself a hug here if you want. One arm on top. So the brain likes questions. I'm going to offer this based on our theme. How can I create more self-love? What within me wants to expand relative to self-love, self-worth, self-care? Change the cross of the arms. Give yourself an embrace the other way. Free your arms up overhead. Reach through your fingertips. Create lots of space, like let your ribs open up a little bit, like a morning yawn. Maybe there's a little arch and you just feel all those little intercostals in between each rib. Get a nice stretch as you breathe deeper in. And the knees are going to go to the right. Your feet are wide. The placement of that left foot is important. So if you're not feeling something in this left hip, move your left foot to the left a little bit more. You can also bring it higher up your mat. Sending the breath into the belly, unlocking any tension in your face and your jaw. Knees go to the left. Again, that right foot should be on the edge of your mat. You pull it a little higher or move it further to the right if you're not feeling enough. All right, bring it back to center. One more thing I want to do before we come up. If you have a block, put it in between your knees. I usually do maybe that second level. Little connection to our core, just a little, like a minute, and then we'll come up. And for me, when I do this, I know we're working on the crown, but yeah, just connection to our center. It's like there's more stability internally when we connect to this place. So hands behind your head, very simple. Keep your feet down, little squeeze to the block each time you exhale and curl up. When you curl up, I'm not using my hands. My hands are supporting my neck. They're not pulling me. My core is pulling me. Inhale down and exhale up. Squeezing that block. So as you activate your inner thighs, helps us connect actually to the pelvic floor and the lower abdominals. If this feels easy, hover at the top and exhale till there's no more breath left, and then squeeze a little more, and then you'll feel it. Easy inhale down, exhale up. I tend to like few of these. Make them count. No struggle in your face. Or rather than, I mean, obviously a strong core helps your back, but you can also make it about your emotional body, which is primarily what we've been focused on the whole series is working with the energy body, the emotional body. Now let's add a little tap. Right arm taps the left knee. You curl over, contracting your obliques to reach. Back to center, inhale. We won't do a lot of these. Exhale, twist, reach. Low, inhale down, exhale, twist. Squeeze that block. Your pace. Breathe. I am strong. Offer yourself some of those positive words. Do one more each side and then come down. Just rest. Stretch out your legs. There's the sound of the ocean. Just let that wash over you a few breaths. Let your breath get a little bigger, like let a little more in. So we'll release. We're going to come up. We've been reclined a long time. So make sure you do it gently. All right. I want to weave in just a little bit of strength here because we're doing a lot of restorative. Skip out on these guys if you want to. This can be done with hands on the mat, or it can be done on blocks. You got tender knees, maybe put a blanket underneath your knees. So I'm going to do it without the blocks, but you can. You're going to hover your knees. And when I say hover your knees, I want you to not be up here. That's actually like harder on the shoulders. So stay low, stay low. It'll wake up your shoulders, your core, your quads. So I know I'm not doing a lot of standing poses, but this is not easy. And then you're going to bring your knees down and we're going to do a cow tilt. Inhale, stretch that belly. Exhale, round. Chin in, press into the mat, open your upper back. Opening your spine, your belly. Do about 3 of these because we're going to do that hover again. I like this. It's called a bear crawl, but we're not crawling. You can crawl with this. We won't do that this time because it strengthens your shoulders, your quads, and your core. So hands under the shoulders, toes curl, little hover, spine is straight, press into the mat. The bear crawl, for those of you that just are would be entertained. It's like left hand, right foot comes forward. Right hand, left foot comes forward. That's the crawl. And you got to go back just for fun. It'll get you certainly out of your thinking mind. Bring it down, arch, inhale. Empty, exhale, round. 2 more. Inhale. One more. And exhale. Last time, I'm not going to crawl. I promise. Little hover, tiny hover. I also noticed for me, if my weight is a little further back, that feels better to me. Harder on the shoulders if you're not. All right. So for my friends that didn't want restorative today, there you go. Inhale, open. Exhale, empty. Make this about your clearing the cobwebs internally, creating space for more peace. One more time. Okay. This next one's called quarter dog. You're going to bring your forearms down onto the mat rather than being back in a child's pose, which we will do in a moment. My hips are over my knees. I'll do left side so you can see me. My left forearm is going to come parallel to the top of the mat. It's not under my chest. It's going to be under my forehead. And I'm going to walk that free arm straight ahead. So it's like a number 4 shape in my arms. You should feel a big stretch in your underarm and your chest through the whole side of the body with that extended arm. Reach it a little further forward as you soften your heart down. This one reminds me of when like a cat or a dog wakes up from a nap and they reach their paws forward and take their tush to the sky and stretch their chest, but with one arm. We'll switch sides. Parallel to the top. Drop down and reach through that arm. Your back is in extension. You're letting your spine come into extension. So I'm going to show you with both arms. Not a lot of people can do this. Your hands have to be really solid and you soften down. I show it to you because I want you to kind of have a gist of what it is with one arm where you're really an extension and your hips are to the sky. That's not an easy one to do. Take it all the way back. Child's pose. Maybe hands want to be back by your feet. You have tender knees or your feet are tight. So sometimes tension in the feet will show up here. Put a little something underneath the front of your ankles. And if your knees aren't happy, you put a blanket across the backs of your knees. Give you a little bit of support. A couple more things I want to make sure we do today. One is a squat. Tuck the toes. You can do this against a wall. It feels really supported if you've got that wall behind you, especially if getting the heels down is difficult for you. Bring your body to a wall or blocks under your hips or a blanket under your heels. Turn this into a forward fold. Pose straight ahead. So here's my version. You'll do it your way. You can touch your feet, bend your knees, slide your hands up your shins, opening your upper back, up your thighs. Part of embodiment is touch. Harder to be up in the mind when we're, when we feel that. It moves us into the body, and then hands come to your back. So if I fold, hands come to my back and I slide my hands down. And we're going to do that again. Knees bent, roll up. Letting your arms reach up. Let's add a little balance. Lift your heels. Wobble around. Love that wobble if it shows up. Smile about it. Take your hands to your back. Slide back down. One more with a little fire just because. And then we'll do another restorative. Rolling up. Take your arms up. Steady gaze. Maybe lift the heels. Reach for the sun. Reach for the stars. All right, take your right elbow under your left. You can give yourself a hug, or arms can be an eagle. Little chair. Drop, drop, drop. Chair can be little. Chair can be really deep. You see where you want to be. Don't round your back. Maybe we add that lift to the heels. If you're like, I need more today, Emily, you lift your heels. Keep it simple if you need. One more. Inhale, reach up, big breath. Left under right. You're either giving yourself a hug or left fingers to right palm. Little mini chair. Little more. Lot more. Somewhere in there. Just hold strong or lift your heels. Some of the heat helps us open, right? All the way to stand. Inhale. And hands to your back body again. Exhale. All right. So here's what I want to do. I'm actually going to have us come all the way back up to standing. So I want to show you how to do a pigeon pose supported. And I know everybody's not going to have blankets. So I'm going to fold my blanket in half. I could do one. I could also do two. If you don't have blankets, it's okay. We're going to do a pigeon. I'll show it to you with and without the blanket. So traditional pigeon is going to be here. My right knee is to the right of my rib cage. If I'm upright, I'm stretching my hip flexor. If I'm here, I'm going to stretch more the piriformis in that right hip. So if I need it supported, I would start seated on my blankets. I would place that right leg bent, and I would work the left leg back and around. Same thing, I'm upright or I'm down. Blocks can be handy here under your forearms. It's interesting, sometimes with the blankets, as much as we think, you know, it's a prop to make it easier, you can actually get deeper. You've got two blankets like I do. The blocks might feel really nice. That left leg extends straight back behind you. Sometimes knees have trouble with this, so the blankets can help. We're just going to switch sides. So loop it around either way, whether you've got the blanket or not. Left leg comes forward and right leg comes back. If I am standing above you, I should see that knee ideally peeking out. Sometimes people have the knee too far in. You want to get that external rotation in the hip. Arms coming down. All right. To come back to center. Now it's time to recline. You can, this is where I wish I could see what everybody has, but you can keep the blankets. You can put them underneath your calves and lie back. You can put a blanket over your body. You could put an eye pillow over your eyes. So set up so it feels sweet. Maybe give yourself 3 deep breaths with each exhale. There's a deeper letting go, like the bones are heavy, like your heart softens and opens. And you let your awareness drop. Yeah, it's like, can we be in the heart? Difference between being in the heart versus being in the head. And you give yourself permission to just be and receive with each breath. Feeling into just your the human experience. And my prayer for you is that each breath brings in more self-love all day. You feel guided, you could put a hand on your heart. Connecting in, like, how can I love myself more? There's a really beautiful practice where you connect to some of the heavier emotions like fear or anger or grief, self-doubt, confusion, and you breathe those emotions up into the heart. Like you look through the eyes of love. And you reconnect to your true nature. Beyond the wounds that we all experience, beyond the traumas that we all in different ways experience. That's the essence of alchemy, our ability to alchemize some of these challenging emotions and heal. Well, let's take some breaths collectively together as if there's like a big unified big breath in and big breath out, that even if we aren't sharing space, we are sharing space in a different kind of way. And there is a thread of connection and understanding even without words. And there is great healing when we can be more tender to ourselves, more loving to ourselves. Go ahead and find your way onto your side. That Shavasana, it means actually tiny death. It's like, what parts of me aren't serving me that I can shed so I can create something new, space for something new. Similar to the seasons, right? Winter and spring. We are nature. So kindly, gently find your way up. Take a seat with me. Eyes can be closed. To me, these kinds of practices are ritual, they're spiritual practice, tending to one's self. So as we're completing, we'll bring our hands to prayer, just kind of closing the 7 weeks, knowing we'll open again, knowing your energy is appreciated, your presence is appreciated, and what you need matters. So we want to hear from you. All right, so much love. Namaste.